Former presidential candidate of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili, is apologizing for what she describes as an error of judgment in joining the platform of the ACPN in her bid to become president. Dr. Ezekwesili says that the accusation of fraud leveled against her by the party are laughable and alien to her character, and that the members of the party were frustrated with her because they assumed, being a former minister, she would have money stashed away or would use her global network to raise money for the party. Our correspondent, Kayla Megwa, reports.
The Allied Congress Party of Nigeria is withdrawing support for our presidential aspiration. We are seizing this opportunity of this press conference to endorse the second-term bid of President Muhammadu Buhari to take Nigeria to the next level.
That was in late January. At the time, Mr. Galadima said he was aware that money was coming to the party in droves, but didn't know the source of the fund. He asked her to render account and give back to the party all that belongs to it, because according to him, without the party, nobody will give her any funds or donate anything to her campaign.
We're extremely transparent as a campaign.
And those were the accounts rendered today at this World News Conference by the Deputy Director General of the Ezekwesili presidential campaign.
Now, all in all, we raised about 48.9 million in total, and we ended up spending about 45.7 million on the campaign with some balance.
One by one, members of the campaign gave account of their roles, extolling the virtues of the former presidential candidate and their support for her, even as she has decided not to run for president in the 2019 elections. Then it was time to address the allegations leveled against her by the party.
Whoa! I mean, how does it even make sense that I, who have rejected the call to come back to government and be a minister, would be running for presidency in order to become a minister? More hilarious was the accusation that I raised and took personally the donations for the campaign. The accounting and financing function and system was separate from my candidacy. It was independently managed for the campaign.
Dr. Ezekwesili went on to describe running for president on the platform of the ACPN as an error of judgment. While she states that her party card and other party paraphernalia have been returned to the party, there is still the question of the Independent National Electoral Commission saying she cannot withdraw from the race less than 45 days to the elections.
I have suspended my campaign. I will work hard to ensure that those who would have voted for me cast their votes instead for the consensus candidate who will hopefully emerge from the coalition of willing, credible alternatives in the coming days.
After thanking her campaign team, she says they will be getting some much-needed rest and will be launching 2 more initiatives aimed at cleaning up the political space and ensure good governance is taught at a young age. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
Guys,
We have an important information just coming through. The military says that it has repelled an attack by suspected Boko Haram terrorists in Michika and Madagali local government areas of Adamawa State. According to the source, sporadic gunshots were heard this evening around Kirachinga in Madagali local government area. The terrorists were advancing towards Shua town in Michika local government area, causing the residents to flee for safety. The terrorists were, however, stopped by the military, who reportedly succeeded in pushing them back. About 2 houses and a shop were said to have been set ablaze by the retreating insurgents. There is, however, no report of casualty. At the time of this report, the Public Relations Officer at Adamawa State Police Command Superintendent of Police, Othman Abubakar, however, says that the command is yet to receive any official report on the attack. Both Michika and Madagali local government areas were captured by Boko Haram insurgents in 2014, and they are just recovering from the devastation, where lives were lost, infrastructure reduced to rubble, and thousands of communities displaced. You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, reaching you live from Lagos. Let's quickly shift our gears now, shall we, to our Abuja studios, where Ibrahim Adra is standing by to take us through a couple more stories. Ibrahim.
That's right, Gimba. Good to see you. The federal government is alleging that the opposition is working to enlist the support of some foreign countries to scuttle, that is, the 2019 general election. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, said a new intelligence report shows that the opposition is working to receive the backing of key countries like the United States and the United Kingdom to bolster its claims that the government is not committed to a free and fair election. Specifically, he alleged that the opposition is dispatching a 10-member delegation to some Western capitals, including London, Brussels, and Washington, D.C., to sell the idea that the federal government has perfected the plan to rig the election. However, he insisted that the government has not lost confidence in the international community.
The opposition is so desperate. It knows it has lost this election. It's now trying to discredit the election, even before the election starts. And it will continue to do this during the election and after the election. And what is our proof? Our proof is that we know that a 10-man delegation of the opposition is going to make representation in Washington, D.C., in Brussels, and in London to complain that the Buhari administration has already perfected plans to rig the election. You can see in the last couple of days, they've mounted unprecedented assault on the Independent National Electoral Commission and the Nigerian Police. So there's no insinuation whatsoever that the federal government has lost confidence in the National Committee. Rather, we are saying the opposition has decided to, instead of facing their campaigns, resorted to international blackmail.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Yusuf Buratai, has ordered the General Officer Commanding and Formations Commanders in the Southeast Area of Responsibility to immediately embark on a clampdown on the indigenous people of Biafra and their splinter groups. General Buratai adds that there is credible information of subversive motives by some unpatriotic groups, aided by foreign conspirators, to scuttle the peaceful conduct of the 2019 general elections in some parts of the country. He explained that the Army is working closely with the Nigeria Police and other security agencies to ensure an enabling environment for the conduct of the election.
We have information of subversive motives by some unpatriotic groups aided by foreign conspirators to scuttle the peaceful conduct of the 2019 general elections in some parts of the country. We hereby warn such detractors to immediately mend their ways. The Nigerian Army is working closely with the Nigerian Police and other security agencies to ensure an enabling environment for the good citizens of our dear country to exercise their civic rights. However, the activities of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra and their splinter groups in the southeastern part of our country is gaining momentum as the group is threatening to disrupt the 2019 general elections. Their excesses must therefore be clamped down immediately.
In continuation of his campaign, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Oyo State, Mr. Seyi Makinde, has met with notable leaders of Ibadan land, where he promised that his administration will place governance above politics if given the opportunity to serve. He gave the assurance while addressing members of the Central Council of Ibadan Indigents in Ibadan House in the state capital. Makinde also reiterated that issues bordering on education, security and welfare of workers as well as pensioners will not be treated with levity if he emerges the governor of the state.
From across the state, indigents of Ibadan in Oyo State converge on Ibadan House Hall in Yenetu. The meeting is a special one put together by the leadership of the Central Council of Ibadan Indigents to interact with candidates for the governorship seat in the state. It's the turn of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Seyi Makinde, as he tells them why he's running for the position.
The major challenge that we're faced with right now is the issue of poverty. And to tackle poverty, we have to bring our economy up. I did not come from a rich or well-to-do family or background. I was able to break the yoke of poverty for myself personally, and I believe I can do it on a wider scale for others.
One after the other, they take turns to ask Mr. Makinde how he intends to govern if elected. And to all the questions, he rolls out his manifesto to the people.
As the governor of Oyo State, we'll devote 10% of that budget to education. PDP as a party has on its agenda restructuring of this country, having fiscal federalism. That is what we believe in, and I will use everything within my power to ensure that fiscal federalism becomes the order of the day in Nigeria.
After the interaction, some of the members speak on their perception of the PDP candidate.
Honestly, I'm so thrilled with all what he has contributed to Ibadan land and to Oyo State in general. I was so amazed. I can only wish her success.
I think he has expressed what he has in mind for us, and we pray that at the end of the day, if he wins the election, we will be able to do these things for Ibadan land in particular.
After the meeting, Seyi Makinde continued his campaign to other parts of the town to canvass for the votes of the electorate.